killer cock. You can hear the cockies come. Looking very much in the mood for a two. Stephen Foakes snarling as out they come. The invaders from the south. The boys in blue from New South Wales. There he is, the captain of the New South Wales team. Doesn't he need a big game tonight? Wayne Pearce, and have a look at him exhorting his boys. I don't think I've ever seen Wayne Pearce look quite as keyed up for a game of football. You'd think it was war. Well, that's what it is. As the Queenslanders get ready to come out, led by the man himself, the only man who's played in every State of Origin game, the King of Queensland, Wally Lewis. And there's the Queensland team. The fullback number 1, Colin Scott. The wingers, Dale Shearer and Big Chris Close. Two giants of centres. 16 stone of Gene Miles. 16 and a half stone of Mal Meninga. Wally Lewis and Mark Murray, the halves. Bobby Linder, the lock forward. Big Gavin Jones, 17 stone plus in the second row with Brian Needling. Dave Brown and Greg Dowling, the props. Greg Canescu is the hooker. And here they are, the defending champions. Number 1, the fullback for New South Wales, Gary Jack. Number 2, a midget out there tonight, Stevie Morris on the wing with Andrew Farrer. In the centres, Michael O'Connor and Chris Mortimer. Kenny and Sterling, the halves. Wayne Pearce, the skipper at lock. Big Crusher Cleal with little Stevie Foakes in the second row. Peter Tunks, Steve Roach are the props, and Royce Simmons is the hooker. And there he is again, Kevin Roberts, the referee from New South Wales. And here he is, to kick off with the action, Darryl Eastlake.
Thank you, Michael. Good evening to everybody from Lang Park. Enormous crowd here at the moment, jam-packed and raring to roar all night for the Queensland side as they make their big challenge to win back the crown of the State of Origin series. Wally Lewis now just having a huddle with the Queensland side. Final little instructions and G-up, settling down the nerves. Interesting to note that the Queensland side, the players there tonight have made 110 appearances for Queensland. New South Wales, the same players in the side have made 55. So a lot of experience on the field tonight. Mal Meninga ready to kick off to start the Winfield 1986 series. And this should be one of the greatest games of rugby league we've seen in this country, perhaps even in the world. It's the roughest, toughest football, and it's underway. Ball fired down, taken by Jack now as he brings it back. Over the 10-metre line, crashes into some heavy work already, Gary Jack. Oh, big tackle in there. Pearce makes a little break. He's belted down by Jones very quickly with a big hit from Jones. He's the biggest man on this huge Queensland side. Up comes Tunks. In go the Queenslanders again, and they belt him down on the 22 line. Back for the kick. Mortimer now drives the ball downfield. Just bounces over halfway. New South Wales offside. They can't take it at the moment. It's picked up immediately. Lewis runs it, and it's a penalty to Queensland. And listen to the crowd. New South Wales ring Lewis. Offside. Penalty goes to Queensland. Kicks for touch. Play will restart midway between the quarter and a half. New South Wales into the ground. Canescu gets it on to Chris Close. Close goes hard. Look at the New South Wales defence. Melts him down and over the top too. A lot of people expecting plenty of biffo early. I don't know. The hits are just big and hard at the moment. Dave Brown plays it back now to Canescu, on to Murray. Murray gets it on to Lewis. Meninga looks for Miles. Miles just ankle tapped, and Sterling wraps him up and holds him down. And Miles in sensational form in the Queensland competition. There's a hit already. Shoulder charge went in on Dowling. O'Connor had a swipe. Nothing come of it. But a chance for Queensland to put points on the board. Here it is again. Dowling charging in, and O'Connor puts the shoulder charge in. Simmons there, cops an elbow off Dowling. Interesting to note that Mal Meninga is on 97 points since the inception of State of Origin. So if he gets this one, he'll be looking for one more point tonight to crack the magic ton. Also in goals, New South Wales, since the series started, have kicked 38 goals. Queensland 47. Meninga has kicked 45 of those goals. An amazing record. Mal Meninga, 21.5 metres out on a slight angle, maybe 15 metres off centre. There it goes. Looks straight. Looks high. It's over. Queensland lead New South Wales 2-0. So the nerves all settle down now as Queensland put the ball out. It's a very quick tap and restart by New South Wales. They drive it down as Colin Scott runs it back, and he's done a huge tackle. Oh, the hits out here are heavy already. Queensland almost to the 22 now, and he'll play it on the 22. Back to Canescu. Canescu running from dummy half, makes a metre. Starting to settle down, give Queensland enough time to line out. Back it comes now to Niebling. Too much defence, though, for Niebling, but he's made it out to 35 metres from the Queensland line now. Murray looking for... Jones with a big fend. Lewis can't handle it, though, and that'll be the first scrum of the match. Oh, Jones with a lot of power, the North Sydney Bear, playing for Queensland tonight. And he's big, he's mean, and he's tough, and he's showing it tonight. There's the pack weights. Queensland, 574 kilograms. New South Wales, 558. New South Wales win the scrum. Kenny fires a ball out now for O'Connor. O'Connor wrapped up quickly, though, by Mal Meninga. Good tackle, smothering tackle. Comes back to Mortimer. Mortimer gets it on to Pearce. Pearce is belted down by Linda and also Lewis in there to help now. Here's Farah, runs from dummy half. Look at this defence from Queensland. 3 players there swamping him. Pull and back slam down as he plays it back to Simmons now. Simmons looking for runners. There's Roach. Unloads a loose ball. Roach picked up, and Kenny gets hit hard. Tried to unload, but decided to go down with it. Well, Jack, the fireworks have started, but there's no biffo yet, just hard stuff.
Well, no one's neutral here tonight in the audience, I'll tell you that, except us, of course, Darryl. We'll give it an impartial.
Chris Mortimer gets his kick away as he's brought down. Bouncing in the in-goal area. It'll go over the dead ball line. Well, the prediction was there would be fireworks in the first scrum. That hasn't happened, but the hits have been huge. Here's the head-to-head now. Queensland have won 9, New South Wales 5 of the encounters, but at Lang Park, Queensland 7 over New South Wales 3. Queensland will play it back down. Comes back to Canescu. Canescu gets it on to Niebling. Well, Ian Maurice started with plenty of flair, plenty of fire, and Queensland in possession.
Queensland certainly in possession. Royce Simmons is very groggy for New South Wales. In back play, he's struggling to get to his feet. Queensland lead by 2 points to nothing, and, well, the action coming thick and fast. Well, Simmons in all sorts of trouble. He's very groggy, but he's resumed his place now. Here's Queensland with the ball, and Dowling taking it up 8 metres short of the halfway mark. Last tackle signalled for Queensland. Lewis back for Miles. Bouncing around for Jack. He has Morris with him. Much to the delight of the Queensland crowd. Jack was hemmed in his 22, but now Morris making some good ground. Taking play just 8 metres outside the New South Wales quarter line. Roach. Back slam for his trouble. The fans love it. And so sure Roach did. Now Cleal. One of the informed forwards in the New South Wales side. 11 metres short of the halfway mark in New South Wales territory. Back for Chris Mortimer. Shearer has it. Crossfield not making much progress, but finally linking up with Close, who takes it just outside the Queensland quarter. Now with Lewis. Scott up into the back line. Across for Murray. Under one high one from from Folkes. Folkes may have got a warning on the run. Brown has it just 32 metres out from the Queensland line. Murray, now Lewis. The first of Lewis's kicks for the night. Rolling towards the touchline. And Farah in all sorts of trouble. And here's the situation with Farah desperately trying to pick the ball up. Well, Jack, did he knock it on or not?
Well, it's a tough decision. Shows you on video quite plainly the ball went back and they paid the penalty.
Queensland win it with the feed. Now Lewis has it, standing and offloading to Miles away. It comes intercepted by Steve Morris. Morris has clear territory in front of him. No support though. Morris brought down 32 metres out from the Queensland line. Opportunity for the Blues.
No, he should have run for it. He started propping there to get a kick in, but he should have went for it. He's got equal speed to the other boy, and he had 3 or 4 yards start on him.
Now Folkes from dummy half. Taking play inside the Queensland quarter. Queensland lead 2-0. Simmons at dummy half. Straight ahead, linking up with Sterling. Now Sterling is only 10 metres out from the Queensland line. Opportunity now for New South Wales. Blindside comes Roach, onto Pearce. Back to Roach. Across to Sterling. Now to Folkes. A dummy, linking up with Jack. Jack has it, Jack for the line. Jack's there! New South Wales score! Jack in for New South Wales, the first try of the night, and a good one it was. Here it comes. It was Jack who juggled that pass from Folkes through one pretty flimsy attempt at tackling and over adjacent to the post. How sweet it is.
Now that's a big play. Tunt's got a good ball. P. Sterling the next. Then Folkes, he set it up for Jack. He double pumped it, but he hung on and went in there.
Quarter 2, New South Wales lead at Lang Park. Easy kick for O'Connor was successful. New South Wales lead 6 points to 2 as we're back live at Lang Park as the scrum is about to set down just inside the New South Wales quarter. Darryl.
Thanks, Mayor. Well, possession even. The score is not 6-2. New South Wales leading. This scrum pretty vital one for Queensland. They get the feed too. They fire it out to Lewis. Lewis has a Shearer running around, scrambling, trying to make that 22. Didn't make any ground with that move. Here's Miles now. Picks it up from dummy half and belts his way inside the 22. He's a big fella, this. He's got plenty of pace too. He wasn't wound up then. Canescu gets it out to Jones. Jones really with a bustling run now. 15 metres out from the Blues line. Queensland on the attack. Canescu throws a little dummy. Is hooked back though. Roach wraps him up. 10 metres out now, Queensland. Here's Dowling. Dowling heading for the line. And they hold him out just with a metre to go. Queensland on the attack. They go again. And I think he makes it. Oh, listen to the crowd. New South Wales in the possession. Queensland wave back. And the crowd not happy. Well, a near thing here. Queensland charging at the line. Just couldn't get there, and that was New South Wales' first penalty of the match. What a vital one. Here's the chant.
Well, I think the referee needed the penalty there more than the players because it was getting hot.
Comments from Jack Gibson. We bring you Jack in short instalments right throughout the match. New South Wales now in possession. Midway between the quarter and halfway line. Royce plays it back to Tunks. They get it out to Pearce. Pearce wound up. Murray over the top. And Linda underneath. Simmons gets it out to Sterling. Crusher clear. Cuts out of one. Gets a good ball to Kenny. Kenny puts on a bit of pace. Now gets to O'Connor. He's tackled on the halfway line. He'll play it back to Sterling. Sterling kicks for touch, and it could be a beauty, and it is. 10 metres out, he finds touch, Peter Sterling. Well, Jack Gibson, you said earlier that Peter Sterling had to have a big game tonight for New South Wales to have any chance.
Well, Peter's got to be the man because he's going to receive the ball on more occasions than anybody else. And up till now, he's done more tackling than anybody else. And he just picked up 40 yards there with a terrific kick.
Queensland will get the ball. Coming away from the scrum base, but going nowhere, just settling play down now. As Shearer goes for a gallop, but goes centre field. Here's the back weights for you. Look at this size. Queensland, 644 kilograms. New South Wales, 569, by far the lighter side. Queensland on the 22 now. They fire it out to Murray. Murray goes to pass, holds it, gets belted down back where he started from again. This defence from both sides been good. Pretty fair too. Plenty tough, let me tell you. Lewis now, his turn to put the ball in the air. Gary Jack has it covered. Takes it pretty well, but no, Kevin Roberts says that's a knock-on. He took a ball in similar fashion here on this ground last year, Gary Jack. Have a look at it again. No, well, that's fair call too from Roberts. Just lost it as he hit the ground.
Well, he couldn't find a handle of that ball, but it was a good try.
The balls here, Jack, are different to the ones we use in the Sydney Premiership too. They're a synthetic ball.
Yeah, but they all got air in the middle of them, so it don't make much difference.
Okay, another penalty to New South Wales. And this crowd raring to roar all night. That's what they'll do. Farah takes the kick for touch. It's a good one. Finds the line right on the 22. Royce Simmons got hit early. Seems to have come back as Tunks runs it up. That knee's still a little suspect, but he seems to be handling it pretty well tonight as it goes to Roach. Roach makes a few metres, pops one out the back door. Picked up by Royce Simmons. He's carried down, wrestled down, rodeo style by that man, Lewis. Sterling gets one out for Gary Jack. He runs back inside, sees the opening. Too much defence, a wall of red. Simmons to Sterling. Sterling with a chip for the line. Plenty of chasers coming through. Chrissy Close has it, and he's blocked out in the in-goal area. Good chase there from New South Wales. Kenny it was.
Well, it was a big play from Parramatta there. It was an excellent kick from Peter Sterling, and Kenny give him all the backup he needed.
Well, they're the players, Ian Maurice, that we hope we're going to have a big game for New South Wales. Brett Kenny and Peter Sterling, and so far they look sharp.
Well, Kenny came out for some criticism after that City Country game, but he's certainly playing well for his club, and tonight in great touch. We're back with Gary Jack taking that kick back towards the Queensland quarter. It's New South Wales 6 leading Queensland 2. You're watching it live from Lang Park here on the 9 Wide World of Sports. New South Wales now with Simmons showing it both ways, getting it back to Crusher Cleal, and Crusher putting his head down, gets those legs pumping away, takes it 12 metres out. Simmons across to Sterling, linking up with Kenny again, a dummy from Kenny, put down 10 metres out. Very heavy tackles from both sides. Here's Sterling. Across it comes now back with Pearce. Pearce a loose one picked up by Sterling, a flick pass back for Simmons. Simmons head down, legs going again. Back for Roach. Roach put down, last tackle signal for New South Wales. And a field goal attempt from O'Connor, but it's a horror. And it's gone over the dead ball line, and it's been touched by Queensland.
Yeah, there was a bad mistake there. He probably never had time to think about it, but he went for it and fumbled it out. It's a line drop out. They've forfeited 25 yards there.
Yeah, what that means is instead of a tap kick on their own 22, it's now a goal line drop out, surrendering possession, of course, back to New South Wales. Lewis from underneath the goalpost. Down for Gary Jack. Immediately giving it away to Andrew Farah. First line of defence meets him just outside the Queensland quarter. Back to Cleal. Cleal showing no respect for his body at all, straight into the Queensland defence. Now Simmons getting it back to Tunks. Tunks out of one. Offloading two, back to Cleal again. 10 metres out. Simmons, an overhead pass to Roach, linking up with Pearce. Defence grabs him though, but now they're only 4 metres away from the Queensland line. Simmons goes to the left side with Sterling. A cut-out pass for Farah. Farah and his boot top picks it up nicely. Last tackle now for New South Wales. Back for Sterling. The bomb in the air, plenty of chases, but it's going to be too big. And over the dead ball line. Play will come back to the Queensland quarter. The kick hung in the air for a little while. The chases were there, but it was just too big. And beat Chris Mortimer over the line. So we're back with Queensland now. Have a look at that defence for New South Wales on the 10-metre mark. They move up as one and meet Dowling. Kinescu is dummy half. Away it goes to Dave Brown. Runs into the heavyweights of New South Wales and loses the ball as well. It's anybody's ball picked up by New South Wales, but referee Roberts rules a knock-on from both sides. So this scrum will set 35 metres out from the Queensland line. New South Wales lead by 6 points to 2. Led by Sterling. It's gone with the feet again. Kenny and Mortimer work the run around. Now linking up with O'Connor. O'Connor gets inside Lewis, still stepping, runs behind Gary Jack. No check, but said the referee play on. 15 metres out from the Queensland line. New South Wales doing plenty of attacking in this game. Now it's with Pearce to Sterling, to Gary Jack, to Kenny. Kenny across to Morris. Morris caught by Shearer. 11 metres out. The way to Stephen Folkes. Playing in his first State of Origin match for New South Wales. Across to Sterling, then to Cleal. Cleal, a one-handed pass has been slipped back to Pearce, across to Morris. Quick hands from Sterling, and it goes to Mortimer. Mortimer saw the line. Mortimer saw it. Yes, referee Roberts says it's a try. New South Wales are in again. Well, this man has been very much involved in this game. Cleal got that one-handed pass to Pearce, then back to Morris. Quick hands across to Sterling. A looping one-handed from Sterling. Found Mortimer, who stepped, and over the line he went, was able to get the ball down. The referee Roberts ruled the try.
Well, Sterling again, he's in this twice, but to get that ball away on the second occasion was excellent effort. He went for it and it found a blue jumper. Gus Mortimer, he stepped right here and got in towards the post and make that kick a little easier.
With a kick to come, New South Wales 10, Queensland 2 at Lang Park. Well, that kick from O'Connor was successful. New South Wales lead 12 points to 2, and Queensland went into the match as favourites, but it's all New South Wales tonight, Darryl.
Certainly is, Ian, and really New South Wales were expected to fight early in this game with the tactics that Ron Woolley used with the boxing gloves in Sydney, but he told us yesterday that they were going to play football, and by gee, are they playing football. Football like we haven't seen for a long time. All right, ball comes down for Shearer, can't handle it though. This gets out of one, but now he's trapped. Referee is giving a penalty to Queensland, trying to rake the ball out. Morris trying to rake the ball away. And they needed that penalty, Queensland too. They're on the back pedal. Here it is again. Here's Shearer down on the ground. There's the rake for the ball. Kevin Roberts said, Queensland, you're going to have a free one.
That was a nervous penalty from Roberts, I can assure you, because all that wing was trying to do was mark the ball player. It was a sympathy whistle blow.
Queensland back now with Shearer. Shearer trying to get to the halfway mark and just about half a metre short. Canescu dummy half. Looking for Dave Brown, the runner. Goes the other way instead. Gives it to Niebling. Niebling now inside New South Wales territory. Now, where are the big men? Out it goes to Dave Brown. Dave Brown turns around, spins for the hit to try and unload, but can't. Rescue dummy half. Out for Murray. Murray onto Lewis. Lewis now gets onto Miles. Miles unloads nicely to Meninga. Meninga puts it into gear and gets a good ball out for close, and he can't handle it. Fumbles the ball. Picked up, and there's a bit of a wrestling match on the sideline between Farah and Miles. Nothing in that. Here it is. There's the pass now that goes out to Close, just behind him, couldn't handle it, put the ball down, and they were looking pretty good, Queensland, then too. But this New South Wales cover defence, Jack, it's everywhere. They're covering every hole tonight.
It was pretty smart football. I just think of that last try. It was certainly greeted by the capacity crowd with graveyard silence.
Bit of a shock for the Queenslanders at the moment. Here's Queensland running around the referee, and they've got the penalty too, Queensland. Let's have a look at that one. Kevin Roberts said he was going to rule a game with an iron fist. He's doing that. Here's the replay again. New South Wales offside, so the penalty going to Queensland. Queensland scrum went against the feed too, so they're trying desperately to get the ball back, and Meninga having a shot for goal. Fair angle this one too. He's about a metre in from touch. There's the angle. That's the 22 line, you can see. So a fair bit of angle on the ball. Scoreline 12-2 at the moment. As I mentioned in the series, Queensland have kicked 47 goals, and 45 of those goals have been kicked by this man, Mal Meninga. If he can kick this one, he'll be the first man to score 100 points since the series started. It's a 99 at the moment. The ball's in the air. Gets plenty of height, and he's got it. Mal Meninga has kicked it over. Call for the score now, and he's the first man to score 100 points in the State of Origin series. Great effort. New South Wales very quick to hold it back. They do it gridiron style. Holding the ball down while the kicker just boots it from under the fingertips. Queensland bring it back foul. New South Wales defence there. They rest him down and backslam him too. Bobby Linder now will play it back. On to Chris Close. He winds up. There's some pretty rugged defence from Roach, but he hangs on to him. Helped by Royce Simmons. Out it comes. The runners are on. Here's Jones, and he's met and backslam too. Jones. Big man, big tackle. Dave Brown now. They're using the big men like a battering ram, trying to get back to the halfway line. They're about 10 metres short at the moment. Lewis puts it in the air, stabs for the line. Gary Jack comes across. It'll make it, bounce it. Oh, just falls into touch. Right on the 22. Wally Lewis has done it with a great kick. So cool, this fellow. Gets the ball. There it is. Not too much time to do it, but he just knows where to bounce the ball. Rolls into touch. Gary Jack coming across far too late. Scrum the pack. 4-2 the scrums to Queensland. Sterling to feed. Ball locked in the tunnel now. It'll come out New South Wales way. It does so. Sterling goes from there. That's the New South Wales team settle back. They get nice and deep. And they're just out to the 22, and there's some big tackles still coming on, Ian.
Yeah, there certainly is, with New South Wales leading 12-4. They're continuing on the very good work done by the New South Wales under-19 side, which beat Queensland handsomely, 36 points to 8. 36 to 8, the under-19s went to New South Wales, which will bring a smile to the face of John Quayle and maybe relieve a little of the pain that John's experiencing in hospital after taking a fall. John, hope you're enjoying the match. I know we are. I don't know if the crowd up here is enjoying it so much with Queensland playing. Noise from the crowd indicates my feelings. Now Queensland being hemmed in by this strong New South Wales defence. 10 metres inside the Queensland half with Murray. back to Needling. And that man in the middle with the glasses is Ron Willey, the New South Wales coach. His first time as state coach. He couldn't wish for a better start, could he? Last tackle now signalled for Queensland. It's back for Lewis. His kick is down over Farah's head. That's a beautiful kick. Pinpoint accuracy from Lewis. Farah was there waiting for it, but it was over his head. It was a beautifully placed kick, Jack.
Well, it was. We're still not getting very little pressure from the New South Wales on the kicker. Sterling was the only man to go for and try and inconvenience him. But it was an excellent kick.
Also brought a smile to the face of Sir Joe Bjelke-Petersen, you saw in the crowd. Scrum penalty to Queensland, as if he couldn't tell by the cheers.
Well, I think the crowd's a weapon in this type of game, and Queensland have received a few penalties there in the last 10 minutes.
Now, Queensland with one of their few opportunities in this half to really launch a strong attack at the New South Wales line. There's a couple of footballs on the field. Now we're playing with just one. Here's Dave Brown linking up with Canescu. This big, strong second rower from North Sydney, Gavin Jones. 10 metres out as Queensland right away. Dowling puts his head down. Caught though by Tunks and Roach. Canescu back to Murray. On to Lewis. A short pass. Oh, lovely pass for Lewis. And Queensland are in for their first try. Time that Queensland have really been able to put a strong attack together. And watch this pass for Lewis, a short ball, almost handed it to Miles. And the big, strong centre who was out with injury for a long time is back with a vengeance.
Well, there's too much attention paid to Wally Lewis here, not enough to Miles, because they seem to be making for Lewis, and he just handed over. Just hand shook Miles, and then he walked.
Yep, they all had their eyes on Lewis, and that just one-handed pass for Miles, and that step and a fend past Jack into score. Good try. And there's the conversion from Meninga. So Queensland are coming back. 12-10, New South Wales lead Queensland. And we saw this Queensland side train yesterday, and they were a very impressive outfit at training. There's the coach for Queensland, Wayne Bennett, who had the side really firing yesterday in a lightning-fast workout. We haven't seen it so far tonight, but now with the first try, Queensland are certainly just the 2 points behind and ready to make a real game of this again. Now Colin Scott is caught just 11 metres out from the Queensland line. It's Murray, switch of direction back to Meninga. Drags 3 defenders with him towards the corner line. Canescu now to Lewis. Can't offload as he's caught right on the Queensland quarter line. Canescu, Meninga, across to Miles. Miles upended that time, and a good tackle from Noel Cleal. Gavin Jones. Ooh, a solid hit on Gavin Jones. Oh, goodness me. Steve Roach really came at him and hit him hard. Been called out by the referee. Yes, you, he says, I want you. Jones burst onto the ball. Here it comes. Oh, one around the chin. And a penalty, naturally enough, has been given to Queensland, but nothing more. Well, at 12-10, this is what the crowd want to see, but they'll be a lot happier, Darryl, with Queensland down the other end.
Well, they haven't had a lot of chances, of course, when they got there. They certainly made the best use of it. 4 straight penalties to Queensland resulted in that big territory gain as they make their way back to the halfway line now. Interesting to note, too, that Wally Lewis, the Queensland captain, is the only player to have played in all 14 State of Origin matches. A great record from a great player. There he is now, unloading to Miles. The try scorer puts in a loose pass, though. Can't be picked up. Morris gets it for New South Wales. Lewis wraps him up. Morris gets away from him. Still going. And he's midway between the half and the quarter. Queensland's into the ground now as Sterling throws a long looper out for Cleal. Cleal comes back to the centre. Can't get through the defence, though, and goes down back where they started from. Royce Simmons. Here's Roach. Oh, what's the heavy stuff on Roach? Few scores to settle there. a teeth rattler on Roach. Here's Kenny. Kenny puts a little chip through. Where are the chasers? They're coming through too for New South Wales. A shove, but Queensland take it. Oh, and there's no one lost out there. A little push, a little shove. Queensland come up with the ball 5 metres out from their line. Colin Scott, badly cut early in the first half, has had it taped as he gets up to play the ball. Comes back to Canescu. Canescu 10 metres out now. I remind you of the score, 12-10, New South Wales lead. Queensland at the moment really going one out a bit, Jack.
Well, they've got a pattern. I feel they've got a pattern. They're working it. They're not losing the football. So they've had 4 straight penalties, and Roberts had give Farah a bad decision on a play there once.
Lewis finding the line there with another kick. That'll take play midway between the quarter and the half. Queensland's into the ground. Here's the kick again. Look at this man. He just knows every blade of grass on this ground. And there's a mound on that mark that you see 10 metres in, and he just finds the bounce every time. Scrum turning around. Roberts gets down low, has a look. Waiting for the feed. New South Wales should win this one. In it goes. New South Wales ball, and the crowd hate it. Kenny on a run around now. Got a bit of pace as Jack comes into the back line. Wrapped up, though, midway between the half and the quarter. Plays it back to Morris. Morris skirts away from dummy half. That makes 4 or 5 valuable metres, too. New South Wales go through Tunks. Tunks unloads very, very quickly. Running around in circles, trying to unload. Now they get a bit of pattern going as Simmons gets deep inside the 22 of Queensland. New South Wales with a chance now as they build a bit of momentum. Goes on the Roach. Roach winds up, loses the football though. Queensland have it. Well, that's a bad mistake from Roach. Starting to get a bit of momentum going.
Well, he's trying to keep the ball alive. It's a little mistake from Roach on that occasion, but it wasn't through neglect. He's trying to do 2 things: make some yards and have the ball ready to pass it.
Chris Close from Queensland takes play to the 22 again. Territory, every metre gained is tough. Comes back to Jones. No, that's Dowling. Dowling winding up. And they're in the safety zone again outside that 22. They're looking for runners here. This time it's Jones. Had a good game so far, Gavin Jones. Back it goes to Canescu. On to Lewis. They put... Niebling tried to kick it. Couldn't find the football, though. And New South Wales have possession. Nice and deep, New South Wales as Kenny. Kenny fumbles it, though. Can't handle the football. Well, sloppy play from both sides as Miles comes up quickly, plays the ball for Queensland, and a penalty will go. O'Connor crowded him and wouldn't let him play the ball. Referee Roberts gives the penalty to Queensland. Here it is again. Miles with the football, but crowded by O'Connor.
Well, that was fair enough. He got a little excited, number 3. Playing the penalty.
Lewis now drives it down deep and finds a line probably 32 metres out from the New South Wales try line. Queensland with another chance now. Murray will take the tap. Gets it on to Dave Brown. There's a run-around movement to Murray, but the New South Wales defence is there to meet him. They make no yardage at all this time. Here come the runners. Niebling winds up from about 4 metres back, almost to the 22 now. Back for Canescu. Canescu to Lewis. What will he do? Switches the play out wide with a good pass. Goes to Linda, but Linda wrapped up. Tried to unload to Miles, but couldn't. Miles moves into dummy half. Another run around here at the moment, but this New South Wales defence coming up and meeting Queensland. That's something they haven't done in previous games over the years. Murray now and Lewis, they combine. Lewis belted down, loses the football. New South Wales ball. Well, Ian Maurice, every time they've needed it, they've come up with it.
Yes, they have, and every time Queensland, or almost every time Queensland have found themselves in a situation to launch an attack, they've squandered possession. Put that down to some pretty good tackling from the New South Wales boys. 12 points to 10. New South Wales lead Queensland with about 4 minutes of play remaining in the first half. of this Winfield State of Origin fixture here at Lang Park. Now, Cleal. Looking to Simmons, he's lost it. Bit of a mix-up from New South Wales there. Cleal getting in the way of Simmons and actually knocking the ball out of his hands as he tried to pass it.
Well, he's cut back 2 or 3 times back into traffic, Cleal, and I don't think there's much yardage there. I think he's got to get a little wider. He's coming back in where the ball is being played.
Now New South Wales in possession again. Here's Pearce linking up with Sterling onto Gary Jack. He's to the halfway mark across to Farah. Farah can't beat close though. Back to Pearce again. No back line out here for New South Wales. O'Connor has it. Back into the forwards he goes. Oh, he's caught by Lewis, who was waiting for him. Now back with Roach. 10 metres inside Queensland territory. Simmons back to Cleal. Cleal is able to offload away to Tunks. Tunks is into the clear. He's to the quarter line. Flick pass back to Pearce. Pearce has lost it behind him. Scramble for possession. Who's got it? Queensland come up with it with Chris Close falling on it. Now Dowling. And a penalty's gone to Queensland. And back chatting the referee. They're going to be marched 10 metres. Well, they were originally penalised for being inside the 5, and they had something to say about it. Clearly in front of the referee, and then those few words of condemnation for the referee mean another 10 metres.
Well, it's Kevin. I think he's getting too excited out there. That's just a matter of showing his badge, his authority. I mean, there's going to be things like that said in the heat of the battle, but no one hears them. But if he's going to look for them, he's going to blow it all night, that damn whistle.
Well, that's 6 straight penalties have been given to Queensland to enable them to launch another attack. They still trail by 2 points. And here they are 10 metres inside New South Wales territory now with Dave Brown taking the tackle and playing it. Canescu from dummy half, made about 1.5 metres. Now it's across for Murray, now with Lewis. And a cut-out pass sees Meninga running onto the ball, looking for his winger Shearer. Dummies to Shearer. But takes the tackle, Meninga, but now he's only 10 metres out from the New South Wales line. Queensland desperately want to put some more points on the board before the half-time break. Lewis's long ball to Murray. Running off Murray is Miles. An overhead pass has been knocked down by New South Wales. Regained by Miles again. And 6 tackles restarted as Queensland start again. Murray just 20 metres out now. Away goes Dowling. He's put down 12 metres short of the line. The crowd starting to come alive. Here's Lewis. Running on to the ball is Jones. He's gone without it. New South Wales, I think you'll find a disputing possession. Close has it. And referee Roberts said, Farah, you can play it. Now Jack. Just 11 metres out. Seconds running down. New South Wales will be content to use up the tackles now, I would think. Simmons straight into the defence. Sterling. He won't do anything fancy. It's the quarter line you can see there, just short of the line. There's the half-time siren as Simmons takes the tackle. And referee Roberts says that'll do us for a while. That is half-time. New South Wales here at Lang Park lead Queensland by 12 points to 10.
To Lang Park live for the second half of this opening State of Origin clash for 1986 where New South Wales is clinging to a 2-point lead over Queensland, having led by 12 points to 2 with 10 minutes to go in the first half. New South Wales rather drop their bundles, and have a look at Captain Wayne Pearce yelling at his men again as the Queenslanders come out. The Queensland crowd with new heart now, because that was a super try that Wally Lewis put Gene Miles in for, and they're coming out now ready to take on the Blues and to try and get this crown back, the State of Origin crown that they've held until last year. There he is, the Queensland skipper Wally Lewis, as ever the key man in this banana bender side, the man who set up that first try. And to pick up the action as they get ready for the kick-off in the second half, Darryl Eastlake.
Thank you, Michael. Let's have a look at the defence and top tacklers for Queensland. Brown 11, Jones 10, Linder 8. For New South Wales, Tunks 15. Big effort for a man that had a dicey knee all week. Roach 13 and Folkes 11. Now, errors, this is an interesting one too. Missed tackles. Queensland 5, New South Wales 7. Drop balls 5 and 6. Bad passes 3 and 3. Michael O'Connor scored 18 points on this ground in the same corresponding match last year. Ball goes down to Scott. A bad knock in the first half, and makes a good run out too as his first touch of the ball for the second half. 12-10 the score. New South Wales just in front. Queensland now in possession. Winding up with Niebling. Now in attack, this is the average per 6 tackles. Queensland 44 metres, New South Wales 52. Remember though, Queensland had the ball 5 minutes before they scored, so that's a great effort from New South Wales. Farah taking the ball inside the goal, taking in the touch, and they do, and they just fling him to the ground. Bobby Linder showing no respect at all, just flung him down. Oh, tough stuff. Hear it again, look. Farah trying desperately to stay in time, and there it goes. Dowling puts his weight into it. Linder gives him a push with Chris Close. Not much chance of staying in the field of play. Lewis wrapped up quickly by Kenny. Kenny had a magic game so far in the first half. And away they make a little break again. And they've just taken play inside the New South Wales half now. Here's Brown. Brown wound up. Royce Simmons has been everywhere tonight. Little general around the rucks. He's had a big game. Sterling too. What about Sterling tackling everything that moves? Dowling puts the head down. They ride him piggyback and fling him down. They'll clear the tackler with Tunks. Lewis, long floater out for Murray. Murray tries to duck under one but can't. His tackle for Queensland now. Watch for the kick. Here it comes. Here's Lewis. Straight up for the high one. Gary Jack has it all covered up. He goes, Jack, and he can't take it. Gene Miles has taken the ball. Heads for the line and they'll score. Queensland in. Big Darling right underneath the post off a mistake from Gary Jack. Oh, what a start to the second half. And listen to the Queensland crowd. Well, have a look at this. This man, the king they call him, Lane Park. Wally Lewis puts it up. Gary Jack thought he had it covered. Up he goes, Aussie rule style. Loses it. Miles takes the ball. He gets wrapped up, slips it on to Dowling, and Dowling bulldozes his way over for 4 points. Jack Gibson.
Well, I think the crowd approves.
The understatement of the year. Magic try there from Dowling. The score at the moment, Queensland 14, New South Wales 12 with a kick to come. Sterling now with the ball for New South Wales. Meningo had a magnificent night with the boot. He's kicked 4 from 4. That conversion was successful now as New South Wales run away through Tunks. Scoreline 16-12. Queensland hit the front. Royce Simmons, a dummy half, goes out to Sterling. Sterling gets it on to Kenny. Kenny gets it on to Mortimer. There's Gary Jack up in the back line. Turns it back inside for O'Connor. O'Connor dancing but going nowhere. 32 metres out from the Queensland line now. They go deep. Working their way up to the 22. Out it comes. Here's Roach now on the boil. They hold him up though and fling him back to the ground. Almost to the 22 New South Wales in attack. They've got to come back and come back quick. Sterling puts a little chip over the top. They're all racing back for it. Kenny searching for the ball. Can't take it though. It's taken by Chris Close. Boy, geez, cleaned up some loose ball tonight, Chris Close.
He's been great. No, he's played pretty good. That wasn't a tough assignment all the same.
Well, Queensland now. Meninga successful. The boot 4 from 4 has dropped the ball. New South Wales have it. Oh, Queensland come up to play it, Ian Maurice.
Well, Queensland continuing that momentum that they built up towards the end of the first half. The score is 16 points to 12. Queensland over New South Wales. Back for Miles. Now Gary Jack this time under no pressure is able to take it quite calmly. Running strongly too. In fact, back over the halfway mark. Good run from Jack. O'Connor getting it back to Folks. Simmons getting it away to Roach, to Cleal. Linking up with him is O'Connor, then out to Farah. Farah to the corner line. He's got support with Kenny inside him, but unable to get any pass away as that Queensland defence thrashes him over the sideline.
Well, that was fair enough. They got him over the sideline, but the first penalty just before Queensland scored, that he was held up there for several seconds, and I felt that New South Wales should have got a penalty at that time.
Murray feeds for Queensland. It's gone with the feed again. Kenny takes him. It's 15 metres out from the Queensland line. Across to Miles. Almost to the quarter line. South Wales defence again moving out quickly as Brown takes it. And Folks is there to hold him along with Kenny. Now Dowling running strongly on the edge of the ruck. Good strong run from the Australian prop forward. 15 short of the halfway mark now. Back to Miles. And the big fella beat one tackle, but he's caught and offload out to Kennedy. And Kennedy's given it to Cleo. Now to Farah. Farah struggling to regain his feet. Is finally caught 15 metres out from the Queensland line. Across it goes to Pearce. Now to Kenny. Kenny to Sterling. Long floating pass for Gary Jack into the back line to O'Connor. O'Connor steps up his right now. Finally knocked down and held by Murray. Just inside the Queensland quarter. It's with Sterling. Switch of play has gone to ground. Picked up by Mortimer. Mortimer held. Now it's Folks. 12 metres out. South Wales struggling to launch his attack. They're now trailing. Here's Kenny. Caught by Lewis. Last tackle is signal for New South Wales. They trail by 4 points. It's Queensland 16, New South Wales 12. The bomb from Sterling. It's a good one too. Up again in the in-goal area. Taken by Colin Scott though for Queensland safely. Well taken, Scott. Well, he went up and took it well. And the referee almost forgot the new rule. Was about to order a goal line dropout. Of course, it's a 22-metre tap these days, and now Queensland have it. 32 metres out from their own line now, and Brown standing and offloading to Shearer. It's come back to Murray, now to Lewis. And lost by Linda. Picked up by Crusher Cleal. Simmons got it away to Folks. Now it's with Pearce. Pearce into a heavy tackle from Canescu and Meninga. Simmons back a dummy half across to Sterling. Now to Kenny. Kenny's dropped it. Made a mess of it. Jones knocks it, I thought, backwards for Queensland. The referee agreed. Play on, he said. Jones plays it now for Queensland. Here comes Miles again, running onto the ball. Miles almost through. Beat one, but coming over the top was Tunks to hold him, but he's just short of the halfway mark. Now it's with Niebling into New South Wales territory now. 16 points to 12. Queensland lead. Here's Murray. Murray caught and put down in centre field. New South Wales moving up quickly. Lewis, switch of play. Back to Niebling. Now to Dowling. Down to Miles again. Last tackle, a signal for Queensland. Dowling got it back to Lewis. A drop at a field goal from Lewis, but it's a wide and short, and the ball is going to go over the dead ball line. So play will restart with a tap kick from the centre of the 22. 16 to 12, Queensland lead, and New South Wales, Darryl, not as cohesive as they were in the first half.
Yes, perhaps. I think maybe they need a runner out wide, you know. Watch for Gillespie coming out. He might run two off the ruck to try and bust Queensland because Wally Lewis is dropping back. We'll see if Ron Willie sees it that way. New South Wales with the ball. Simmons had a solid game tonight. Gets it onto Roach. Roach bustles his way 4 or 5 metres. Scoreline 16-12. Hard-fought game, but no biff at all. And this has been the sort of football that people love to see. Hard, tough, and pretty fast. And that's the toughness I'm talking about. Gang tackles from Queensland as they barrel New South Wales down to the ground. Folks, he's done nothing wrong tonight, folks. His defence has been good. Imagine the pressure on that young man going out first time tonight. New South Wales clear it. Colin Scott back to cover. Head bandage from an earlier wound. Oh, can't handle it. Lost it in the lights. Look at O'Connor chasing through. Scott beats him, though. And the man that gets him, Peter Sterling. He's the best chaser in rugby league, Jack Gibson.
Well, he's been first up on every play. He puts his body in the line. It doesn't matter whether it's defence or attack. And what's happening out there, if it's not coming off P. Sterling, it seems to be a little flat. He's got to get it. If he's not first receiver, they're not quite sure what's happening.
Murray now clears it out to Lewis. Lewis says, let's get out of here. He puts a big kick in. And rolling toward the touchline. He's going to do it again. Wally Lewis with a magnificent kick has taken from his own 22 to the New South Wales 22. He's a magnificent kicker of the football. Gee, he knows this ground so well. Jack Gibson, I mean, territory like that, invaluable to any side.
Well, it's 60 metres there. It was certainly improving on his field goal attempt.
Scrums Queensland 7, New South Wales 4, but they get this one now as it goes out to Kenny. Kenny gets it out quickly to Mortimer. Mortimer finds O'Connor. O'Connor winding up. He's got Morris beside him. O'Connor tries to slip the ball, but takes a tackle, loses the football. And Queensland come up with it through Wally Lewis. A bad mistake, and O'Connor's hurt. He hasn't got up. He's still down, O'Connor. Gets to his feet slowly now. Queensland tackle the ball. It's towed through. The chase is on, but Kevin Roberts says, we'll play it back here. The crowd again, give their Queensland roar. Well, what a fierce pace this one is at. Have a look at this. Shearer tried to clear, to get rid of the ball. Went loose. Lewis couldn't handle it. Jack over the top of him like a wet blanket. And the scrum will pack 10 metres short of the New South Wales 22. New South Wales ball. Morris will play it. Back to Sterling. Sterling clears it out quickly to Pearce. Pearce winds up. Oh, some pretty heavy defence. Niebling and Jones. And it comes down to Tunks. This knee is still up very well. Tunks, he's taken the ball up strongly all night. Ron Willie. The pressure on the man tonight. Defending champions, and they're behind at the moment as Roach winds himself up. Cleel came through, but the ball couldn't be slipped. Simmons, a dummy half. Goes from there. Makes 4 or 5 and a struggling, bustling run from Simmons. Inside Queensland's half now, the 5th tackle. Sterling clears with a kick and looks like a good one too. Bouncing toward the line, plenty of cover back from Queensland and only just fails to make it as Shearer brings it back. That's the Queensland line. You can see as Shearer breaks one, it'll bring it back to the 22 with a great run from Shearer. Oh, he's a good footballer, this fella. Crowd applauds too. Here's Murray now. Murray, Tunks goes and Mortimer helps. Mortimer finally wrapping him up. Murray plays it back. Dowling looking to unload, but thought, no, take the tackle. Canescu dummy half. Queensland battling their way out. Lewis will kick again. This time he goes to the other side of the field. And look at this. As it rolling toward the touchline again. Morris takes it this time, though. on the third or fourth bounce and brings it back. The little fella and a good run too. Morris still going. And out of 3 tackles then Morris. Blakey's quick. Folks gets it to Sterling, comes across to Cleal. New South Wales nice and deep now. Mortimer finds Farah. The defence is there in Chris Close and they belt Farah down. Close and Farah, good duel tonight, I think. Folks is, well, he's won the duel as far as I'm concerned in cover as Gary Jack takes it to the halfway line.
Well, that Morris has played pretty smart on the wing. He hasn't done one thing wrong. He's over there wounded, but he looks like he's recovered.
Up there, the magic sponge. Tunks will play it just inside Queensland's half. Sterling changes direction. Almost through the gap. A lovely pass on to Folks. Well, just a big defence though, and a Queenslander slating up as Niebling. He tried to play it forward. Rolling around. Roberts' play on. The crowd don't like that one. Ball goes out quickly. Kenny winding up. Slips the ball back to Morris. Morris gets it on to Pearce. Pearce chase. And the top. The chase is on. And Queensland save it through Meninga. Oh, good football, and Ronnie Willie liked that one. 2 and a let off for Queensland. The kick and the chase. Pearce playing well. Here it is again. Pearce just drops the ball on the foot. Chases through Meninga. Pearce bustling for it, and Meninga just winning the race to the ball. Ball let off for Queensland at time, Bear.
Oh, sure was. And Ron Willie, of course, with the score at 16-12 in favour of Queensland, is now faced with that problem that all coaches face. He's got fresh reserves there. And when is he going to use them? Because we have 25 minutes of play remaining, 25 to go. New South Wales trail by 4. Back with Steve Morris. 32 metres out now from the Queensland line. Pearce. Down by Niebling and Konescu. Now it's back with Roach. He's now just 30 metres out. Simmons from dummy half. Short ball for Tunks. Able to offload to Sterling. Now to Kenny. There's a gap there for Kenny. Kenny through one and finally put down 10 metres short of the line. Here come the Blues. It's back with Sterling. Out to Crusher Cleal. He saw that line and bites straight out of this court. About a metre out. Last tackle signal for New South Wales. Simmons dummy half. Goes himself. He's there. Royce Simmons in for the Blues. Well played, Royce Simmons. He summed it up very, very quickly. It was the last tackle. And he took the odds to it. Saw the little gap, and there was only a little gap there too, and over he went to put New South Wales back level pegging.
He deserved that, Simmons. He's played an excellent game of football. And a little help to him was P. Sterling, because Sterling distracted the defensive players, and he started looking at Peter, and Royce slid in there.
16 points all at Lang Park. We'll be back in a minute. There is the kick from Michael O'Connor. That has run right between the posts to give New South Wales the lead. 18 points to 16 here at Lang Park. And we're back live. 12 metres out from the New South Wales line as Pearce links up with Steve Morris. Morris to the quarter line, caught by Shearer. What a game of football. I trust you're enjoying it on Nine's Wide World of Sport. Now, New South Wales with a 2-point lead. Here's Tunks. And Peter Jackson is the player you see, number 14, warming up on the sideline. He'll be the first replacement used in the match. It's back with Gary Jack now. His kick is over Chris Close's head. No, Chris Close summed it up pretty well and was able to take the kick from Jack just inside his own half. Player down injured too in that tackle, New South Wales player. Michael O'Connor down injured. May have got an accidental kick in the head as he made the tackle. For that New South Wales defence though. Now it's back with Lewis. Queensland trailing again by 2 points. New South Wales moving up very quickly in defence. Folkes and Cleal there to make that tackle. O'Connor still down injured. The little grubber kick from Lewis. And he's beaten Farah. Beaten Farah into touch. It's another lovely kick from the Wally star. He does this with monotonous regularity. He knew they were a man short in the back line there, Jack, too. He knew Farah may have been covering for O'Connor.
Yes, but the way the scrum's being fed, the halfback might as well shot it straight to the 5'8" because it doesn't get near, doesn't get into the ball. It doesn't get into the scrum too far.
Well, it's happened again. This time it's Pearce who was able to break quickly from the scrum. O'Connor is still down injured. Gary Jack has the ball for New South Wales. Now Simmons straight through the middle. The little fella from Penrith, legs going like pistons. Got the pass away to his front row forward in Roach. Roach has put it down. Here comes Queensland again. Meninga has it. 5 metres inside New South Wales territory. What a game of football, Darryl.
Certainly is, and just incidentally, Scott is off, Jackson is on, and Shearer has moved back to fullback for Queensland. So repeating that, Scott off, Jackson on, and Shearer playing at fullback. A reminder too that the whole series since the inception of the State of Origin will be put together on a videotape and by Nine's Wide World of Sport and packaged by Winfield. It'll be available very shortly for you at home. So it'll be a 2-hour special on the history of the State of Origin. Don't miss it. Look for the Wide World of Sports logo and look for the 2-hour special on the State of Origin series. Right, last tackle for Queensland now. Went for Lewis, but it didn't go there. Shearer's picked it up. Remember, he's at fullback. He gets it on to Meninga. Meninga puts it into gear now. Gets a pass out to Close, but he's wrapped up inside the 22. And this will be the first changeover of the match as New South Wales come away with it. Kenny. Sterling. Jack. Wrapped up with a good tackle that time, though, by Murray. Royce Simmons had a great game tonight, Royce Simmons. Roach gets it out the back door. O'Connor running pretty strongly again. He was down for a while. Used up 3 tackles already, New South Wales. And here's a little break again from Morris. Boy, geez, been smart. Give him half a metre and he'll take 10. Back it comes for the kick. Mortimer now drives it deep into Queensland territory. Chris Close coming back to pick it up for Queensland. New South Wales ring him. He decides to run it. Now he's fair game. He gets out of 1. And that was Sterling's tackle he beat. Score at the moment, 18-16. New South Wales clinging to a lead. Queensland in attack. But look at this New South Wales defence. It's magnificent. And here's Mortimer disputing the fact that he should have had the football, but Roberts says no, Queensland play it. Lewis now, the long flatter out for Miles, who was wound up. He tried to slip one up from the ground, but couldn't do so. Pearce, the tackler, comes back through Dowling. Lewis again kicking. Let's see if he can do it again. This time the bounce doesn't favour him, and Farah picks it up. Takes it back for New South Wales. Midway between the quarter and the half, New South Wales into the ground. Gary Jack. Too much defence. Close has tackled very well out wide today. Roach. Met by Queensland. Tried to unload, but thought better of it. Royce Simmons now, dummy half. They miss out Tunks. They get it on to Folkes. Folkes head down. Hard to hit. Back for the kick. Mortimer deep. There it goes. Shearer this time at fullback. Lets the ball roll. Oh, and made a mistake. Was a bit casual about that one, Jack.
It was certainly a crucial mistake there. So they've got 12, 13 metres out with a New South Wales feed. But I've been very impressed with Tunks' performance tonight. I thought he's been dominant out there.
That's a big game, and of course most of us thought he would only play 20 or 30 minutes and go off, but he's there to stay, I think.
Well, you're right. He was supposed to come in as damaged goods, but he's proven wrong.
Chance now for New South Wales, and Farah's in. Oh, great try, very smart work from Farah as he crashes over in the corner. And what a vital try that is. Oh, that was easy. All from a scrum. See it again, Sterling. Sterling, just a little ball up for Pearce out of the scrum. And there's Farah charged around the blind side and went in for a beauty for New South Wales.
Well, it's a little honey fly here from P. Sterling. And Farah, well, he could have climbed the fence. The only thing I'm critical of Farah for, he could have walked inside. He could have moved 4 or 5 yards close to that goalpost.
Gee whiz, that was a nice set move there. That little pass from Pearce, and there it is to Farah. And Farah over in the corner. What an important try now for New South Wales. 22-16, the emotion runs high for New South Wales. The Connor now gets set. Not an easy chance. About 1.5 meters in from the, and about 1 metre from the 22. So a difficult angle. O'Connor's been cool tonight. He said it in an interview throughout the week. The crowd won't faze him tonight. And they're giving him plenty. Plenty of concentration. Moves in now. In the air. Looks good. No, it'll be waved away. So the score remains 22-16. New South Wales over Queensland. Another replacement coming on. And that's French. French ready to come on, like she's got some grease on the face or it's nervous sweat, I'm not sure. Noel Cleal now. Cleal winding up, and New South Wales in a good position. 22-16 they lead. 16 minutes remaining. This is O'Connor. Simmons, Tunks. Goes for the hit and the spin, but decides to take the tackle. Simmons, dummy half, gets it onto Roach. Roach burrows down almost through to the head down and half a break. Simmons. Back it goes to Mortimer. Again, they clear it down. Shearer has to chase around for it. Takes it nicely on the second bounce, Shearer. But he'll get caught inside Queensland's 22. Jackson. Replacement player, plenty of speed. Watched him in training yesterday. If he gets a chance, this fellow, he can certainly put the power down to the grass. Brown. Queensland a bit bunched at the moment. Lewis starting to call a shot. Says, quick, get it out to me. And away they wind. And Ian Maurice, they need to get down to New South Wales end quickly if they're going to score.
Yeah, I don't know if they're all that fit enough. I know they're pretty fit, but compared to these New South Wales fellas, the Blues are certainly finishing stronger. And it's 22 points to 16 with New South Wales leading, and here's Farah. And Jack, I must ask you the question, why no New South Wales replacements at this stage?
Well, the rest must be healthy out there, that's all I think of, and there's plenty of time to put a couple on. I mean, the 2 replacements they got are pretty smart players. Lamb.
And Liebling has just been hurt in that tackle as he tried to take Royce Simmons. Roach taking play up towards the halfway mark. Simmons back with Mortimer. Kick down for Jackson and Shearer. Finally Shearer who has it. Short of the quarter line, Queensland. David Gillespie for the New South Wales side is on the sideline, ready to come on as Queensland get a penalty. New South Wales up inside the 5. There's Gillespie ready to come on.
Well, Roberts give that three-quarter a tip. If you don't get back, I'll blow the whistle, and he didn't pay any attention, but Roberts didn't forget him.
David Gillespie about to have his first taste of State of Origin football as Queensland take the ball up. They're trailing by 6 points. Back with Dowling. But the New South Wales defence has been very, very strong tonight. Simmons in there to make the tackle along with Tunks. Now Konescu from dummy half goes scampering, but again the New South Wales defence equal to the occasion. Roach it was that time. Here's Lewis trying to slip a pass away. It's a New South Wales ball. Tunks has it for the Blues. Well, that's the sort of football that you tend to play when you're behind on the scoreboard and the minutes ticking away. New South Wales able to capitalise. Here's Gary Jack. Running from dummy half. It's about 15 metres out from the halfway mark. Cleo moving up towards the halfways. 22-16. New South Wales lead Queensland here at Lang Park. Back to Sterling. An overhead pass has been juggled and put down. Now Gillespie is on. Tunks has left the field. There he is. A well-deserved rest. He's played well, Peter Tunks. Well played. Ian French has gone on for Queensland. Dave Brown has left the field. So the reinforcements are there. Now this scrum down just inside New South Wales half. With 10 minutes to go, there's a lot of football left in this match now.
Sure is Queensland back on the attack now. This New South Wales defence, I must confess, really I am surprised that they are leading at this stage because the side was so small compared, and there's another mistake coming from Lewis. By gee, that's rare. Very rarely does he put a ball down.
Well, he's in the mistake zone. He's got to do something now. New South Wales in front on the clock and time's running out. He's got to start to push his players a little more.
As I was saying, I thought the New South Wales side were a little small for this side, but by gee, they've played well and they've tackled well. Here's Kenny now. Kenny with half a break, but just wrapped up with a good tackle. And that was Lewis making amends for the mistake he just made. Here's Gillespie. Wrestled down to the ground, though. And Jack, a comment here, Ron Willie's tactics have been very much of the old South Sydney style when he was there, using, let's say, Mortimer for the kicker in place of Baker, and that straight-up, old-fashioned, no-nonsense style of football.
I didn't know that, Darryl, but I think the player's ability, along with the coach, he hasn't had much time to coach him. He's only had him a couple of days, so he's more of a supervisor than the coach, but he hasn't done his credits any harm. Of course, they've played strong. They haven't won it yet, but they're on their way.
Ball loose for New South Wales. Scrambly play at the moment. They pick it up. O'Connor's been strong. Bygee's played well, O'Connor. He hasn't missed too many balls. He's been on the loose ball. Goes back out the back door. The kick can't come, so it goes to Jack. He puts it over the top. Cleaned up, done a great tackle from Jack because he just chased and belted Lewis down. Lewis has copped some heavy punishment tonight. Close barging run. Pulls some pretty high stuff too, but Close gets through it. Brown lets out their disapproval. This is Dowling. Queensland have to do more than just barge one out. They need to get a bit creative. They're behind. They've got to get the points. Jones, the head goes back as the hit goes on. Folks, he's tackled well tonight. Pearce, as always, immaculate in defence. Lewis kicks again. Morris chasing. Oh, bad bounce for Morris. Bounces all over the place. Comes back. Morris falls on it. And the whistle blows. And the penalty goes to New South Wales. Well, offside ruling there because the bounce, of course, came back Queensland's way. Morris fell on it. He had every right to do that. Queensland offside. Here it is again. There's the bounce. Whoops. Which way did it go? Rolls back that way. I'll take it there. Bang. Penalty. On the halfway line now, New South Wales. Gillespie head down, the fresh player. Here's Roach. Roach being strong. Well, pretty safe position for New South Wales then, but Queensland have to get a bit more creative, I believe.
Well, they're a converted try behind Queensland, and what they've got to do is have the football down the other end. Jack, you agree with that?
Well, I agree with bringing on Lamb now. He's champion goal kicker, and if they can put that extra one on the board, that'll only pull it out of reach.
Now here's Pearce taking play up to the quarter line. Been a very impressive effort from New South Wales. coach plays the last tackle signal now for New South Wales. It's back for O'Connor, looking for a field goal in Harris. There's the kick, and it's wide and gone dead. So New South Wales desperate to get out of reach of Queensland. And as you say, Jack, there's the kick. Do you think that tells the story? I think it might.
Well, that's what they're going to try and do.
Now Lewis receiving attention, and he's having a shoulder problem, as you can obviously see. The referee Roberts is going to start play. Now Dowling takes it up, but Lewis is in some trouble there. Now Murray. Lewis is going to continue. Canescu giving it away. Liebling. Now Canescu again running from dummy half. He's been doing that a fair bit. Sneaks up towards the halfway mark. 5 minutes of play remaining. New South Wales lead by 6. Here's Meninga getting it away to Jackson. Last tackle for Queensland. They need to get down the other end if they're going to level this game. The kick from Miles is a high one. Farah's there for it. Farah juggles it between his legs. Disputed possession, knock on, said the referee. Well, I'd be interested to see how he's able to rule on that. Probably caught it with his knees, Jack.
Well, I can't agree. I think it went to ground.
Well, we'll all be an expert now with the slow motion replay. I think you're right. You've got good eyes, Jack. Now Queensland on the attack from that scrum. Here's Lindner, just inside the New South Wales quarter. Queensland now desperate. Here comes French. 6 points to go. A converted try will level the scores. 4 minutes remaining. Tension at Lang Park as Lewis props. Lewis stands, offloads to Murray. Murray props. 11 metres away from the New South Wales line. The drama continues at Lang Park as Dowling takes it. Still going Dowling. Now he's only 6 metres out. Playing the ball, Lewis. Lewis getting it away to Close. He's bombed it. Close went without it. Lindner tried to recover, but it went over Close's shoulder.
He nearly stayed alive.
Desperation stuff now. New South Wales will feed the scrum, but he doesn't get a chance to do that. Penalty's gone to the Blues. I don't think the crowd is pleased. Collapsing the scrum, the ruling. Noel Cleal down with a cramp.
Well, I think they've got to take Noel Cleal off and put damn Lamb on. He'll tackle anything that moves, and they don't have to score anymore. They've got to stop something.
Now, Roy Simmons to take the free kick, giving it away to Gillespie. There is only just under 3 minutes of play remaining. New South Wales still lead by 6 points. The tackle count restarts. And Peter Sterling changing direction 3 times. They'll play safety first stuff now, New South Wales. Nothing flashy. Just keep moving the play up towards the halfway mark and kick on the 6th. Now Gillespie plays it. It's gone back to Mortimer. There's the kick from Mortimer. As Terry Lamb is about to go on, Shearer has it for Queensland. Linking up with Jackson. Jackson trying to hurdle the tackle of Morris. 2 minutes of play remaining. Queensland need to get back in New South Wales half. Now it's Miles trying to work play towards the halfway mark. New South Wales lead by 6, but here come the Queensland. They're not done yet. Queensland with Murray, now with Lewis, now with Meninga, onto Close. Close, though, is held well by Andrew Farah. Last tackle for Queensland. To Lewis, the little kick ahead, chased by Murray. Murray almost got to it, but Gary Jack was there. Very reliable. Jack is able to take that one and hit very hard by Murray, who is following the kick through. Time off signal now by Kevin Roberts, as Jack is unable to get to his feet.
Right. Well, I've replaced Morris with Lamb, but they've got Lamb out in the wing. I think I'd shuffle him out a little and bring Lamb into 5'8", let Kenny go out a little, step out one, because Lamb's as fresh as a daisy and he can do something in there.
Yes, now it's Jack who's just about to get to his feet. Winded in that heavy hit as he tried to retrieve that kick. Time signal on again. There's just under a minute remaining. And New South Wales lead by 22 points to 16. Gillespie plays it. Again, safety first stuff from New South Wales. Simmons getting a pass away to Cleal. Cleal out of one. Still going, Cleal. Gets up towards the halfway mark before he's finally put down. And Gillespie is a dummy half. Cleal very slowly to his feet. Gillespie takes the tackle. 6 points the difference as Simmons simply runs from dummy half, and why wouldn't he? New South Wales lead by 6. Last tackle for the Blues. It's back to Chris Mortimer. The kick from Mortimer is down for Peter Jackson. And Jackson is able to get around Lamb, but not Kenny. Kenny tapped him, held by O'Connor. Now Miles, almost to halfway. Time is going to beat Queensland. They'll have to do something miraculous now. Here's Lewis. A cut-out pass for French. French saw open spaces. Linked up with Close. Close over the halfway mark. Held low by Cleal. 5 seconds remaining. They've bombed it. Queensland, the Blues are going to win. There is the full-time siren. And New South Wales have defeated Queensland in this first Winfield State of Origin match at Lang Park. 22 points to 16. What a great win for the New South Wales side. They went into this match as underdogs, and I tend to think they liked it that way. Look at the elation on the New South Wales players' faces. It's been a torrid battle. Heavy, hard tackling out there, but I'm pleased to say no foul play whatsoever. No fights, no dirty stuff, just good, hard rugby league. The crowd has enjoyed it. Maybe they would have liked to see the result a little different. There is the victorious coach, Ron Willey. Well done, Ron. Coaching his first stateside, and he's come off with a win as the New South Wales players make their way back to the dressing room. Disappointed Queenslanders there. But there's Royce Simmons. What a game he had. Battled all night, scored a good try. Disappointment on those Queensland faces, but it's been a torrid struggle. And of course, the series moves to the Sydney Cricket Ground in a couple of weeks.
That's all I can do.
What a match that should be. 22 points to 16. There are the scorers for New South Wales. Tries to Jack, Mortimer, Simmons and Farah. Michael O'Connor 3 from 4. And for Queensland, 2 tries. 1 to Gene Miles, 1 to Dowling. Meninga a perfect goal kicking. 4 from 4. 22 points to 16. New South Wales have defeated Queensland.